It's the world and everything in it for member-supported World Radio. Today is Wednesday, July 26th. Good morning. I'm Kent Covington.
And I'm Mary Reichard. When President Trump appointed Valerie Huber to a prominent position in the Department of Health and Human Services, reactions to her appointment were intense. That's because she came to the job from a position as director of a national abstinence education advocacy group called Ascend.
The reaction brought to the surface deep divisions over what we teach teenagers about sex. According to the Centers for Disease Control, American high schoolers are surprisingly less likely to engage in sexual activity than teens 20 years ago.
Planned Parenthood and its supporters credit comprehensive sex education. But proponents of abstinence-only education note the decline began after Title V went into effect in 1996. That's a provision of welfare reform that funds abstinence education.
World Radio correspondent Maria Baer recently visited an abstinence program in Columbus, Ohio, and brings us this report. Given the subject matter, some parents may not find it suitable for younger listeners.
David Mahan and his girlfriend both grew up in inner-city Columbus, dealing with both poverty and abuse. In high school, they got pregnant, forever changing both of their lives.
I had no idea, right, that the choice to make love to her would have been the reason why she had to drop out of college, something that she worked for 12 years.
That's David today, some 2 decades later. After receiving counseling from an older Christian couple, the teenagers chose life for their baby. The story takes an unlikely turn from there. They've just celebrated their 23rd wedding anniversary. They had 4 children together, including that first daughter, Jessica. These days, Mahan is director of a Columbus-based sex ed program called Common Sense Culture. With state funding, he and his team of teachers visit some 50 public and private schools a year, teaching a 4-day program aimed at convincing teens to delay sex.
You don't want to talk about abstinence? It's just a big word for self-control or maturity.
Mahan knows abstinence is a loaded subject. But most high schoolers don't care about political debates and statistics.
Or no assaulting classmates with balloons, thank you very much.
It's a sticky day in June, and the hallways at Upper Arlington High School smell like sweat and antiseptic. This is one of Columbus' most wealthy suburbs, and school's out for summer. But 44 students in grades 9 through 12 are enrolled in a summer school health class.
Used to be when I was in high school, summer schools for all the bad kids. You guys are great.
Ohio law mandates that sex ed courses emphasize abstinence, so Mahan and his Common Sense Culture team are here for a 3-day presentation. Mahan charms the students 30 seconds in, introducing himself and acknowledging his topic is a little awkward. These teens are mostly white, mostly upper middle class, and very chatty.
And a part of my job is not to get you just to say no to sex. My job is to get you to look at life a little broader than what culture has you looking at life. Does this make sense?
There's disagreement over precisely what abstinence-only education is. Mahan prefers the term sexual risk avoidance. Planned Parenthood, which has a vested financial interest in teen pregnancy, says abstinence education courses, quote, provide misinformation and withhold accurate information. The wider perception seems to be that abstinence-only education means only one thing, saying sex is bad, with no mention of contraception. For Mahan, that's not the case.
If you're sexually active tomorrow, you need to understand what it means when we say protection and safe sex. One small condom on one small part of my body that's not even covering the area that is infected, maybe that's not so safe. If somebody's got something in their mouth or pubic area, is that really safe and protection?
Mahan is adamant this type of abstinence-emphasized education is working.
If condoms equal safe sex, y'all should be the safest sexual generation on the planet. More kids, according to the Centers for Disease Control, rocking condoms today than ever before in history. And we got the highest STI rates in history right now. There's got to be a different definition of safety.
It's working, he says, not just because he and his teachers place a high premium on being excellent communicators. It's also working, he says, because deep down, teens already know this stuff.
How many here would say when you get old, like me, when you graduate, college or whatever you do, it's important, it's a value of yours to have a great marriage and family one day. Where you at? Raise your hand real high for me. Let me see you. All right. How many want to get married 4 times?
While both sides of the abstinence education debate say their approach is most effective, it's hard to deny Mahan's is working here.
How many STIs were there in 1960? 2. Very good. Back corner. How many today? 25 plus. Very good.
After Mahan's presentation is over, the students are rowdy. To a person, they loved him, especially his jokes. But under the giggles, there's introspection too. Molly, who will be a sophomore next year, jumps at the chance to share her opinion. She's cute and bubbly and not embarrassed to say that at Upper Arlington, sex is a likely path to popularity. Despite that pressure, Molly says the week made a believer out of her.
Walking into it, I didn't really think that this was going to be very beneficial, but cause I thought the abstinence was dominant, no one was going to do it. But no, he's totally changed my perspective from it.
Do you think that it's changed the way that you will live your life?
Yeah, I'll probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Jonah, a soft-spoken senior, says it was a good week for him too.
Really locked on it was. It wasn't just a lecture about use this, do this, don't do this. It was more of what could happen if we made the wrong decision.
Ruth, a rising junior, said she loved getting to hear from Mahan. She'd never had a sex ed program like this outside of school, though she's done some of her own research. Still, she has some unanswered questions, such as contraception options.
The only thing is I don't think we learned that much about what happens when you actually have sex with a partner. This was more about hey, hold off on this for a while.
Ruth says she's grateful to have a good relationship with her mom and plans to ask her these questions. But she said she'd also be comfortable asking Mahan, who won her over with his authentic style.
The average human being spends 2% of his life having sex. It's going to come, but don't take it out of perspective. And when you have it, hopefully it's great, because it's at the right time, the right place with the right person. All right, don't rush it, okay?
For World Radio, I'm Maria Baer, reporting from Columbus, Ohio.